Thank you very much for coming tonight, and I would like to thank University of Nebraska for this beautiful room, even though it is called the OPPD Community Dialogue Room. We appreciate being able to use the facilities. It's a great center, the Engagement Center. I will begin with a safety briefing. The AED machine and fire extinguishers are located in the atrium by the main entrance to this building. The first aid kit is located in room 115, lower level. In case of a tornado, we take the stairs to the garage in the basement. Please do not use the elevator. Location of exits, the exits in the back of the room. Location of restrooms, down the hall to the right. If you are asked to evacuate the building, the rally point for the Community Engagement Center is a Performing Arts Center lobby. In case of emergency, the corporate secretary or OPPD security will call campus security. Anyone who may have a medical condition to please either write the condition down or tell your neighbor. Thank you. And with that, we'll have roll call. Mrs. Tracy.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Gay.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Hurley.
Here.
McGuire.
Yes.
Mines.
Here.
Ulrich.
Here.
Agenda item number 3, notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in the Omaha World Herald and outlets, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since August 7, 2015, and by mailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Law is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room. Agenda item number 4, approval of the June 2015 Comprehensive Financial and Operating Report, the July 16, 2015 board meeting minutes, and the August 13, 2015 agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Mrs. Tracy.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Gay.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hurley.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Ulrich.
Yes.
Motion passed. Agenda item number 5, persons wishing to address the Board of Directors on a particular item are asked to approach the microphone as that agenda item is discussed. Comments will be heard following board discussion of the item and prior to a vote by the board. Persons wishing to address the board on all other matters will have an opportunity before the close of the meeting. Agenda item number 6, resolution number 6072. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District that management is hereby authorized and directed to enter into an agreement with the Brattle Group to provide cost of service and rate design advisory services to the district for a term of 5 years with the option to renew for an additional 5 years.
We have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I think that's Mr. Green.
We are losing our rate consultant. CMH2 Hill has been our rate consultants for as long as I can remember, unless Mr. Ulrich can remember longer.
9 months longer.
So we had to interview, and the rate consultant works for the board and works with management. And they advise us on a regular basis when we try to craft rates as to what is legal and what would work in our circumstances and are an important part of our decision-making process. 3 firms were interviewed for this. And as the committee chair for this particular committee, I sat through those committee meetings and part of the discussions with management in terms of the decision to make this recommendation, and the recommendation is that the Brattle Group be retained on a consulting service agreement for a term of 5 years with an option to renew an additional 5 years to serve as the district's rate consultant, and I would so recommend.
Discussion?
Madam Chair, while I recognize one of our biggest responsibilities as board members is establishing legal, fair, and equitable rates, this is something I feel could be handled by our in-house staff. However, it's my understanding that our bylaws require the use of a consultant, so I will be supporting it.
I actually think it's very, very important to have an external rate consultant, given the many changes that are going on in the utility industry right now, especially with distributed generation and everything, to make sure that we continue to have fair, equitable rates. And Brattle Group, I know is known as being a very large corporation that has lots of people to help us out. in benchmarking and looking across the country about things that are happening as far as rates, and I think they'll be a great service to us.
I'd like to thank Director Green for all the time he spent working on this, but at the same time, I'd like to say that I do agree with Director Kavanaugh, and that it seems to me like maybe in this instance we do need outside consultant, but it appears to me, and I've only been on the board a short time since the first of the year, that we have a lot of consultants for a lot of different things. And it's sort of ironic that this consultant is for rates. And my thought is if we had fewer consultants, we'd have lower rates.
Any other discussion amongst the directors? Any discussion from the public? Any comments? If you could please state your name.
Jeffrey Picorni, 4969 South 149th Court, Omaha. Why don't you move your microphone a little bit closer? It's really tough to hear you out there. My question is, maybe somebody mentioned the cost. I know we're talking about cost from Mr. Hurley and Mr. Kavanaugh. I think that their discussion is about cost, but nobody's mentioned the cost of the contract.
Mr. Green, you want to address the cost?
Well, first I would say is that it's open-ended based upon the amount of services that we would require, so that I couldn't give you a fixed price. We aren't buying a widget. We're buying professional services, and professional services billed by the hour.
That's not my question. Just cost. In minimum, maximum.
Well, Mr. Easterlin, what did we pay last year for CMH2 Hill?
I think the annual expense for CH2M Hill is generally around $100,000. It depends on the complexity of our rate proposals, the amount of additional review that's done to verify the work and the accuracy of the work, and then to provide a comfort to the board that management, what they're presenting meets the standard and is complete.
The one thing that OPPD has got going for them is that we're in a state where you set the rates. It doesn't go through a complicated, convoluted process through the state legislature or any other body. I would like to see a group with Mr. Kavanaugh and Mr. Hurley's acquiescence of 10 ratepayers. And you could get an accountant, a couple of accountants, a couple of lawyers, a couple housewives, a couple of anything.
Well,
and
sir, I certainly don't question the integrity of the process at all.
Oh, I know
It's certainly going to be done reasonably. We will examine the results thoroughly. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it is one of our most important responsibilities. My concerns were separate from the idea of any concerns along that line.
I shouldn't assume anything
Okay.
that you two people mentioned, except for your comments to the board. My comments are that it would be great to have a group of 10 people appointed by you folks, of ratepayers from the various sections of the city, with expertise, not just people off the street, but people with expertise. And there are thousands of those people in your district. That's what I'm saying. And even if you had to pay them a couple $1,000s a year, pay them per meeting or whatever, it would be cheaper than what you're going to do. Plus, then you could go back and say, Joe Dokes, Mr. Joe Dokes, and Miss Susie Jones, part of the ratepayers recommended this. And you don't have to take the recommendation.
Okay. Thank you for your
You're welcome.
comments. We appreciate
I would
this.
add that 40 years ago I took regulated industries, and I can tell you, having been doing this for a while, that we do rates by tariffs, and each rate is a tariff as part of both a public policy, a publication of what we're going to charge, and in some times a contract rate with certain specific companies. The rate schedule is in books about this big. And a complicated industrial rate or a commercial rate or some change in that, or even if the legislature would allow us some type of incentive rate for economic development purposes, would be a very complicated legal document. And in the time that I've been here, we have never been sued over setting rates, because the rates that we have set, while they are not liked by most people because it usually is a raise, which remains, they have been determined to be fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory. And just the cost of one suit over the establishment of rates would cost you a lot more than this contract is going to cost. And I would further recommend it.
Thank you. If there's no other comments, may we have a vote, please?
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines,
Yes.
Ulrich.
Yes.
Motion passed. Agenda item number 7, resolution number 6073. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District that the proposal of Thompson Construction in the amount of $465,000 is the lowest and best bid received on request for proposal number 4707, substation 3458 foundations and ductwork, and is hereby accepted, and the bond of such bidder is hereby approved.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Mr.
Second.
Baldwin. We have a
Oh,
second?
Mr. Barrett isn't here.
Correct.
Sure. This is to construct various electrical equipment foundations, install cable raceways and ducts to support the big Midwest transmission project at substation 3458 in Brass City. As you know, we're part of the, through our agreement, we're part of the team that's building the Nebraska, we are building the Nebraska part of this transmission line. And this is to provide the anchor and stuff and the expansion of our substation down at our Nebraska City Power Station. And it's certainly an important part of this is for labor, materials, everything to expand the substation and get ready to start hooking those lines up. So, and we have 3 bidders, all from Nebraska, and the lowest bidder is Thompson Construction, I believe, and they are from Arlington, Nebraska, for $465,000, and I'd recommend its approval.
Any comments? Any comments from the public? If not, Mrs. Tracy?
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines,
Yes.
Ulrich.
Yes.
Motion passed. Agenda item number 8, resolution number 6074. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District that the compensation adjustment for Vice President John T. Hanson, as set forth on Exhibit A attached hereto, be and hereby is approved.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chairman, this compensation adjustment for Mr. Hanson, it has nothing to do with merit. It's basically due to his additional responsibilities he's taking on as the nuclear oversight representative for the utility at the Fort Calhoun Station. Calls for a 5% pay raise. His new salary will be $365,655 a year, and basically puts him almost exactly at his midpoint. So we certainly recommend, we recognize John's hard work and recommend the adjustment.
Any comments from the directors?
Yeah, I would just add that I think it's a really good idea to spread that nuclear piece. I know Mr. Dogman has had it for 3 years, maybe, something like that. And John's been deeply involved in it, but I think it's a very important part to get our executive team. As it turns out, our new CEO is not a nuclear engineer anymore. So it's good to have spread some expertise around in that area to provide us with more credibility in the national scene. And John will certainly provide that. And I don't know what the comment about merit was, but exactly.
No,
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm just
But
kidding.
it wasn't his annual.
I know. It's not his annual deal.
That didn't come out right.
I'm just teasing.
Sorry.
But I certainly wholeheartedly support it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, and I'd just say, I'd also support this, just being on the nuclear committee the short time I have been, and on the board for 3 years, watching this nuclear oversight is quite a task. So it's a big task he's undertaking, and it's deserved that he be compensated appropriately.
Do we have any comments from the public? Okay, with that, we'll have a vote. Mrs. Tracy?
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines,
Yes.
Ulrich.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is a State of the Utility Report with Mr. Burke giving us the report.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to kind of talk through the generation down to some of the public and community activities that we're doing. As many of you may know, we created, then the board approved a future generation plan in 2014, and in that, we are essentially executing that as we identified that a year ago. So we have identified one contractor that is installing activated carbon and dry sorbent injection systems in both our North Omaha units 4 and 5 and our Nebraska City 1 units. And those are ways in which we can get significant emission reductions. And those are on schedule, and we plan to have them tested late August. And we'll actually be commissioning it in November. And so our plan is to have it ready by mid-January of 2017. A little bit about our Nebraska City station. It was about an 83% capacity factor for the month of July, and our North Omaha station was at 86.6% capacity factor. So high capacity during the summer months. It's a great indication of the great staff that we have working on those and maintaining those. We did have some small outages during that period of time, but those units came up typically over a weekend, and our staffs did a great job in doing that. Also, coal inventories has been a little bit difficult for us. We've had some interruptions on some of the rail lines, and so we've had some, again, disruptions, but we're continually working with the rail and the supply entities to make sure that we maintain our coal inventory. For the month of July, our renewable energy contributed about 8.8% of our retail sales, and the capacity factor was around 30%. As you can see during the summer months, that essentially reduces. Primarily, most of our renewable is wind in this regard. For the year, our capacity factor for renewables is 45.7%, and our wind capacity is 45.1%. And that contributed year-to-date 16.2% of our energy sales. We did have a small shutdown of Fort Calhoun Nuclear Station, primarily due to a seal that had to be repaired. That outage in the month of July roughly took a little over 9 days, but the staff again did a great job of assessing that repair and bringing the plant back up online on July 29th. And so again, the staff did a great job in that regard to get the plant back up and operating, and it's operating very well. So we had a lot of activity at Fort Calhoun over the last month. We've had quite a few visitors. We had a branch chief, Jeff Miller, who visited us, a regional inspector that's assisting some of the other inspectors at the plant, and a couple of things that they're doing are closing out some of the items that were in our CAL to essentially correct those items, improve those items, and those things are going. 7 of those actions were recommended for closure based on these reviews, and that's really important. We also had a division manager of reactor projects. He's a director there who met with our senior leadership team at Fort Calhoun to give us feedback on a number of different things, and so those meetings went very well. He also gave us feedback on our hostile action-based emergency exercise. That was a really important exercise because we included a variety of emergency response agencies, including cities, counties, states, NEMA, Nebraska Emergency Management, and FEMA, the Federal Energy Management Agency, in that, and all of our responses to that were very positive. So the men and women at OPPD that are part of our emergency response organization did an absolutely wonderful job in that, and those are important for us to do well in. So congratulations to them. As I started last month, we kind of identify an employee in our T&D part of the organization that the safety meetings for that month is dedicated to. And so this month, the safety meetings in our transmission and distribution part of the organization are dedicated to Wesley Hicks. He was a lineman. He died on July 17, 1950. After making contact with a 13 kV line while working near 65th and Sprague in Omaha. He was 29 years old with 5 years at OPPD at the time of his death. He was survived by his wife, Dorothy, and a child. And it's a great reminder of our staff and that organization just to maintain our safe actions day in and day out, and they do a wonderful job. Part of our growth and response to growth that's going on in this community, we are essentially adding a transformer at our substation at 27th and Platteview Road. That substation only went live just a couple years ago, and we're adding another transformer for continuing growth in that area as well as for additional reliability. We anticipate to have that transformer in service by June of 2016. Along with that, we'll be adding another transformer at our substation at 204th and Pacific. Again, it's for additional capacity and reliability for that surrounding area. We'll also be adding about 5.5 miles of distribution circuits for that substation and in addition to that transformer. We expect that to be in service by June 1 of 2016 as well. And you may see some crews out painting our transmission towers, primarily in Bellevue and the northwest corner of Omaha. And that's, they are essentially painting on a protective coating that will ensure the towers maintain their strength. That's just part of our commitment to reliability. We obviously had several storms roll through over the course of July. Lightning's not good for our business. High winds are not good for our business. But our crews and our team did a great job. We had all of our centers open during one of the storms where over 12,000 customers were impacted. We were able to get them restored by midnight that evening. It's just a great dedication of our men and women and our storm response teams for doing just a great job. And we appreciate our customers' patience during those opportunities. Members of OPPD and the board attended essentially our rating agency visits with both Moody's and Standard and Poor's at the end of July. We had just a great opportunity to talk about kind of our strategy, some of the work that we're doing around our financial direction, a little bit about our environmental compliance assessment, and a review of our operations. Both of those meetings went well, and both of those agencies indicated that they would provide an update credit ratings prior to any future debt issuance, and that's a good news story for us. Our current long-term debt ratings are AA2, with a stable indicator from Moody's and a AA stable from Standard & Poor's. We're doing some things on the customer side as well. So our customer service operation team and information technology implemented a new telephone payment system for our customers that will ensure our continued assurance of OPPD's payment and processing platform and make sure that we're continue our compliance with our payment card industry regulations. So this system will provide customers with a variety of other options, and it was gone live in July of this year. That's a positive opportunity for OPPD as well. We've done a variety of different community events. I would say I've never been to 2 tractor pulls in 2 separate weeks, but I had the opportunity to attend a tractor pull and sit up in the crow's nest on a very, very hot day and then a beautiful, beautiful day, and talk a little bit about OPPD during the tractor pulls. So it was a unique experience for me. But a good Iowa farm boy doesn't mind going to a tractor pull at all, and I could put on my boots and jeans. So it was a great day.
I can verify he had boots on.
I did have boots on. I was feeling pretty good. Also, OPPD received an Outstanding Industry Award on August 8th for an outstanding achievement in planning, prevention, and risk reduction in the community. The award was presented at the Nebraska City Lead Conference Center during the annual EPA Region 7 Local Emergency Planning Committee, Tribal Emergency Response Commission, and Emergency Planning and Response Conference. That's a long conference. But it really has to do with our integrated work with local emergency planning organizations in Washington, Douglas, Otoe, Sarpy counties, and it really covers a 5-state region. So again, we have a lot of great folks at OPPD that are doing some great things, and I attribute this award to their hard work and the emergency management planning and associated work that we do with the counties. Sustainability, design, and technology is a growing part of today's world. Obviously, we're spending a lot of time on our own assets as well as some of the products and services that we're doing. And so OPPD was really responsible for bringing a variety of esteemed paneled experts in front of a high school group this past year. It's the Academy of the Environmental and Renewable Resources group. It was held at UNO's Peter Kiewit Institute during the week of July 27th. The event, which UNO is a partner, is really designed for rising high school juniors and seniors, and it's an opportunity for us to essentially share a variety of different leadership and sustainable activities with those individuals. One of our own employees, Gary Rulifson, OPPD's Energy Solutions Specialist, led the Academy for OPPD. It's now in its 3rd year, and in its first year there was 21 students, and last year there was 85 applications and 34 students who were able to attend that this year. So it's a growing need that we're providing great service to. Kind of with that, Girls Inc., Eureka, I think I got that right, is a national program that is STEM-based, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and it's really for empowering and growth of 8th grade to 12th grade females. And OPPD had the great opportunity to provide 2 sophomore females from Central and Marion High School really experiences, hands-on experiences throughout our organization. And it's a great opportunity for us to commit to that program. There was a variety of females involved, and we had a lot of people from OPPD involved in that during the day and in the evening. It's just a great contribution of what OPPD does in the community. And last but not least, Russ Baker did not know I was going to do this, but at our OPPD picnic this Sunday, I will be having the great opportunity to provide the 2015 Award of Excellence to Mr. Russ Baker. He didn't attend for that reason, by the way, but Russ is actively involved in a number of different things, and we'll talk a lot about him on Sunday. But it's just a great recognition of someone who really exemplifies OPPD, our commitment to the community, our commitment to the environment, to the organization, and it is nominated by employees, and so that's kind of important. I don't get to vote in it. Senior management doesn't get to vote in it. Employees get to vote in it, so it's a great opportunity to recognize Mr. Russ Baker. And with that, I conclude the State of the Utility report.
Okay, thank you very much.
You sure there's nothing else going on?
Nothing else? Yeah, there's always a lot going on.
Sorry. A lot of things going on.
There's always a lot going on. Now, one of the highlights of the board is to be able to recognize 3 students who were selected to receive the OPPD J.M. Harding Scholarship each year. The students will receive $2,000 worth of scholarships to support them during the upcoming academic school year. Yesterday was the OPPD's 28th annual Swigert Invitational Golf Tournament, and it was held to raise funds for the OPPD J.M. Harding Scholarships. The University of Nebraska Omaha, Bellevue University, and Creighton University select scholarship recipients from their pool of student candidates based on the criteria established in their agreements made with OPPD. This year, I'm very pleased to present you the 2015-16 J.M. Harding Scholarship recipients from the University of Nebraska and Bellevue University. And then I ask each recipient come forward when I call your name to receive a certificate of congratulations and recognition. And here, we're going to have to get that over here. Okay, and Mr. Burke is going to present them. Okay, first, I'd like to call to the front Pasquale Mauricio. Welcome, Pasquale. Pasquale attends the University of Nebraska at Omaha at the Peter Kiewit Institute and is pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. Pasquale's guest is his sister, and also landlord, I found out, Maria Doze. Congratulations, Pasquale. I'm sure you'll have a great year, and next year, instead of getting an internship, Pasquale, in Iowa, get one in Nebraska for us, okay? Okay, next, I ask Joseph Morris to please come to the front. Joseph attends Bellevue University and pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Information Technology Operations Management. Joseph's guest is his wife, Laura Morris, who's taking pictures right now. Congratulations, Joseph, and we hope you have a great school year. I'm sure you will. Okay, great. And if you can stick around afterwards, we can maybe take pictures of, your sister and your wife. That would be great. Not present this evening is our 3rd scholarship recipient, Ryan McChesney. He sends his regrets that he couldn't be here this evening. He's in Colorado at his family reunion. I think he's trying to get some time in before school starts next week. He attends Creighton University and is pursuing dual degrees in accounting and business intelligence analytics. Finally, let's give an applause for our awardees. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, next. It's time for the public to voice their concerns or comments. We ask you to try to limit it to 3 minutes at a time, and please come forward. You're welcome. You can state your name and address.
Yeah, rank you.
Good evening, friends. My name is Don Preister. I live at 4522 Borman Street, and the 3 things that I came to say tonight are: 1, thank you; 2, please continue thinking futuristically; and 3, please do solar analysis. And if someone would, please ask me about Bellevue Solar Garden. My thank you is for providing affordable, reliable, environmentally sensitive energy service in a future-oriented way. OPPD leadership did extensive analysis and public input before committing to get 33% of our electricity from renewable sources by 2018. That analysis identifies a cost increase of only 2%. You verified all of this through Black & Veatch. I commend all of you for the vision, approach, and final plan. Your plan includes 9 wind farm contracts which lock in low prices for over 20 years, an almost unheard of price guarantee on anything. It makes excellent business sense while totally avoiding any investment and risk associated with building new capacity. That is a future-oriented utility position, which I hope you continue. OPPD gets it. The energy companies that will do best are those who learn to manage energy well, not simply generate it. You obviously did the analysis to see the economic advantages of that compared to increasing cost for coal emissions and nuclear regulations. My third topic relates to your website. It is detailed with helpful links like business marketing, wind purchase agreements, building conservation analysis, Eco 24/7, turnkey solutions, rebate programs. These and other links provide detailed analysis for energy reductions to save customer cost while reducing generation need. All of it is thorough, well done, informative, and practical information. Given all of that detailed analysis, it is even more noticeable that solar generation only has one mention, saying it may be considered when prices come down. My friends, prices are dropping, reliability is increasing, the sun shines brightest during peak use periods, and as Bob Dylan sang, the times they are a-changing. I respectfully ask that you do equally current and thorough analysis of solar generation options for total cost benefits. Having worked with your talented, capable, and intelligent OPPD staff for over 22 years now, I know they can do it. It is essential to have such analysis to continue making futuristic business model decisions as our energy partner. Thank you for this speaking opportunity, and I'd love to answer your question. What is Bellevue thinking on solar gardens?
Thank you
My
very
first
much.
question to you, Senator, would be, where is the solar garden?
Thank you, Director Green, for asking that. We have no location. At this point, we have a concept, and we have a number of people. Currently, as you know, anybody in Bellevue has net metering available. They could establish it on their house, on their business, where they want. Bellevue would really like to get ahead of the curve, and I think it's in OPPD's interest too, rather than all of these single units, the economies of scale in allowing us to put it together in one location. We haven't gotten presumptuous that you would allow us to do that. We're raising the question, raising the issue, would like to enter into some discussions because virtual net metering seems easy, but again, I think if you have good analysis, I think you'll come to that conclusion. But I may be coming to you too soon to ask you to allow us to do it without that good analysis. So I'm asking first for the analysis. We've got Fontenelle Forest that's interested. We've got businesses that are interested. We've got residents that are interested in doing it. So if we're allowed and can work it out, I think it would be in the best interest of OPPD and in Bellevue so that we can do it, set the model. We've got Central City in Nebraska that's already doing it. Lincoln Electric System has already got their SunShares program. They're doing it. 14 other states, the District of Columbia, just since 2010, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, you're all well aware of that, have all been doing it. So I think it would be good to have a model program, and we in Bellevue would love to be that model for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think Senator, it's good to have you here. So we continually look at solar through our integrated resource plan, as we did last year as we presented our future generation plan to the board, and the board then approved that plan. So we continually look at all generation sources, and we'll continue to do that. And we really believe that from our perspective, the utility grade solar will be at some point in time probably economical for us. It doesn't completely hit our peak. Just to let you know, we continually look at that on our facilities that have solar applications as well, but we're just continually looking at the technology, and my guess is at some point in time those two lines will cross, and it'll be something that we'll look forward to doing.
And I appreciate that. And some assumptions that we may make may have validity, but that's why I think an assessment to get current data, actual information, and to look at some assumptions that may not be valid currently. So I appreciate that and appreciate all you do, and thank you all very much for serving.
Thank you.
Hey, Don, I got a question for you. Thanks for mentioning the website too. We put work into that. People put a lot of work into it, but you think it's pretty user-friendly and there's some good things on there. We got apps and different things going along, but thanks for mentioning that because we have been working on it. And being the father of the Open Meetings Act, we're trying to do a better job as well on that. Or some of our meetings, transparency and those things. You know, it is what it is. It's trying to do the best we can, so hopefully I haven't heard from you, so that's probably a good thing.
And Senator
anyway, thanks
Director,
for mentioning that.
Thank you for that comment on the Open Meetings Act. But the website is user-friendly. There's a lot of data. I mean, it is thorough. And it shows that a lot of analysis went into putting that information there and making it user-friendly and giving the public very good information. So I like the website. There are some that are not so easy to navigate. The links aren't easy to find, and the value of the information is limited because you can't get to it, or it's complex and not easy to follow. So whoever did it, whoever you had to do it, did a good job. Mike.
Jeff Hansen's right behind you.
Nice job.
Jeff?
Thank you.
There he is.
I better sit down because I don't want to take up all the night.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad Don beat me to the podium because he said a lot of things I wanted to say, so I don't need to say them. David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street. I wanted to just say that about a week and a half ago in this very room there was a forum and panel discussion on the Pope's encyclical, and we were hauling chairs from all the other rooms. This place was absolutely packed. It just shows how much interest has increased in issues relating to climate change. I also wanted to, I was at the Green Bellevue meeting when they were discussing solar. There were a lot of people there. There's a lot of interest in solar, and as many of you know, I'm the president of Nebraskans for Solar, so I support solar. There are a lot of new federal programs, and I'm going to give you a handout that has what they've done in Denver with public housing and solar. And what they've done is create a government business cooperative to be able to put solar on public housing. There are a lot of creative examples out there for solar. Even if you are correct and that solar doesn't meet your price, it does meet that criteria you have on demand-side management where you're even willing to take a loss to help low-income people. And that's what the Solar for All federal project is, and that is to help low and middle income people to have solar and also to have training in the community for people to be able to perform those solar jobs. That's something they're doing in many other communities. We could be doing it here. And finally, I just wanted to say that I was at the committee meeting on Tuesday, as you know, and you had mentioned that OPPD submitted comments to the Clean Power Plan and that you had something, I think you said 10 items. Is that on the website?
Should be on the website, or it was on the website. Early on, that was a year ago or so.
Okay, can you let us know where to look?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll make sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you, because it'd be interesting to know that. And so I will give these handouts, and thank you.
Thank you.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street. We've got a fairly strong El Nino going now, and probably will strengthen during the fall. In the short term, we're going to have about 4 more days of warm weather under a heat dome aloft. But after that, it looks like that heat dome will be breaking down over the eastern U.S. That will cause the jet stream to dip south and will put us in a more active weather zone. Unfortunately, what that also means is that with the succession of fronts, we'll be looking at the possibility of windy events with thunderstorms as the fronts come in. I know you folks don't like that, and I don't blame you after seeing what it does to trees and power distribution. That's the short term. El Ninos, especially the type we have this year, tilt the odds in favor of a colder than normal and also a stormy fall. So this may be the beginning of a pattern running into the fall where we're going to be seeing more weather events. El Ninos tend to suppress active weather in the spring, but they tend to enhance it in the fall. One more item of interest that I just got today in my Journal of Climate, which is one of those specialty journals that you normally don't need to bother with. This one was titled Climate Impacts of Large-Scale Wind Farms as Parameterized in a Global Climate Model. They basically took one of the fairly detailed global climate models, looked what happened in 2050 if you decided to get all the world's projected energy use from wind power, and what effect would that have on regional and global climate. The answer was that the direct effect was pretty well limited to the wind farm areas, and what happened was it warmed up temperatures at night over those areas by a little bit because you were bringing more wind energy from the blades, increasing turbulence and causing the air in that area to mix rather than forming a good inversion. Didn't do anything to the daytime temperatures, didn't do much to clouds or precipitation or anything else. So the direct effect was pretty close to negligible. And this is with very, very large amounts of wind generation. They mentioned 20 terawatts of installed capacity. So that's huge. The indirect effect by replacing fossil fuel burning would be considerable. That's it for today. Thank you.
John, where you been the last couple months?
What was that?
We haven't seen you the last couple months. Where have you been?
Family stuff.
He told you in the spring it would be not as many storms at first in the spring, so he left. Now he's back.
So what I got from that is I've got the biggest corn crop I've ever had. I'm gonna have to fight it to get it at home.
Yeah.
Great.
I thought all the wind being one way was kind of like
farmers would
Superman
never have.
blowing to slow down the Earth's rotation or speed.
Good evening.
Good evening. Ken Winston, 4905 South 149th Street. I don't have any science reports. I do have kind of a sociological report. I was at the NPPD meeting today, and it makes me appreciate coming to OPPD. I'll just leave it at that. Although there were some interesting things that were said at the meeting, and I guess I kind of wanted to offer a little bit of perspective. There was some discussion about the Clean Power Plan. They had a presentation about the Clean Power Plan. And one of the things that I heard that was that I found interesting was that staff made a statement that Nebraska should create a plan that works for our state rather than having the feds create one for us. And from my perspective, OPPD is much better situated to meet the goals of the Clean Power Plan than NPPD is. I mean, you're based upon the plan that was created last June, your reduction of CO2 will be about 50%, which is very significant. So I guess I would encourage OPPD to likewise look positively at creating a good plan, one that really works for Nebraska and one that works for OPPD. Then on solar, I just wanted to also talk a little bit about, well, first of all, to agree with what Don Preister had to say, although I won't say it nearly as well as he did. But just to say that there, well, once again, to offer a little bit of perspective, having been at the NPPD meeting this morning, they've got 5 retail communities that are looking at solar projects of one size or another, and another half dozen wholesale communities. So that's about a dozen total communities right now that are looking at some sort of a community solar project. And so it's something that's really happening, and would really encourage you to follow up on Senator Preister's comments, because I think they really make a lot of sense going forward, and OPPD really is a utility that I consider to be a leader in the utility business in the state. One of the things that he didn't talk about was just, and David Corbin alluded to, was the value of solar, that it does meet demand, peak demand fairly well. So I guess one of the other things that I also wanted to suggest is I always think in terms of legislation and the fact that there is the potential of working with the legislature to help create some policies that will help make it more affordable. If LB 423 had passed last year, for example, that would have provided some incentives for community solar projects, and that's still in the legislature. It's on select file, but I'm talking with some folks at the League of Municipalities and some of the other folks about, are there some other community solar incentives that we might look at? So I think there's a lot of potential there, so would really encourage you to continue to advance the solar agenda. So be glad to answer questions if anyone has any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Ken, I have one question.
Yeah.
When they're talking about those community projects, how many megawatts total, or what? How much? I mean,
Okay.
Are they just talking about it?
Sure. Well, Kearney's looking at a project that's 10 megawatts, and there's a bunch of snags there right now because they're a retail community and they would have to sell it through NPPD. And
Just ballpark of all of them together, do you know?
Well, some of it is a matter of perspective. Like Central City has 100 kilowatts, and that doesn't sound like much, but 100 kilowatts in a town of 3,000 would be the equivalent of 5 megawatts in Lincoln. So you know, and they're going to have Central City's going to have 200 kilowatts by the end of the month. So some of these communities, it may not sound like much, but
it's relative to the size of the community.
Relative to the size of the community.
Okay.
Yeah, they're mostly 100, 200 kilowatt projects. They're not big, but it's utility scale for the community. I mean, community of Venango having 200 kilowatts of solar plus a storage project. They were looking at 1 megawatt, and I think their whole demand for their community is about 1 megawatt, or at least that was what they were talking about. So which was more than what they needed, so they decided to scale it down.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angelita Beverly Jean Sills Campos. I'm from 3217 North 24th Avenue Circle. I came in here as a request from a friend who is currently taking calls for families who are facing shutoffs or have had their power shut off. During that time, the CPS has called to the home for the power being shut off or close to being shut off, and these children are being removed from their home, from their families, as a result of the power being shut off. I know there are lots of programs out there, but those programs are usually broke by this time of the month, or this time of the year. These families are being torn apart, and there's a lot of repercussions to that. Children go into foster care systems. These children are being routinely abused as a result from just having no power in their homes because their families can't afford it. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because not only are these children being removed, but CPS is being called anonymously shortly before the power is going to be cut off or right after, immediately, within minutes, an anonymous call is put in. I don't know where those calls are coming from, but it seems to be a routine habit that's been going on for at least the last month.
Okay. You know, if you could definitely talk to Mrs. Comstock, she's in charge of that area.
She's on the far end.
She's on the
here.
far end there. You can raise your hand, Mrs. Comstock. definitely get together with her. You know, it's sort of funny why the common fund, that's why we have the common fund, so this kind of stuff doesn't happen, so maybe.
And there are dollars in the common
There are
fund,
dollars in the
so.
common fund, and I'm wondering what's happening there is how this is, we have a loophole there that needs to be filled.
I would certainly do
Okay.
that. Are there any questions?
No, but just so you know, there's a new program out. It's called Alternative Response Programs in HHS. What they'll do is help those families so they can avoid that, just with direct cash, quite honestly. They don't want to be taking in more kids and families, I guarantee you. But it's just a pilot, so it's probably, I don't know if it's in Omaha, but it's starting in Bellevue, actually. And they'll just help people through those hard times where if it's just, you know, I'm just short on cash, I got to make a payment, they'll be preemptive and get that done. Anyway, it's through the Department of Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
And they're just starting. There's one in Omaha, one in Bellevue. I don't know how much is in there, a couple $100,000, I think, so.
I'll
And
look
it's
into
for
that.
things like that, just so you know.
And that, they should be working with the common fund, so yeah, definitely get
Absolutely.
talk with Ms. Comstock. Do not leave without talking to her,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sayed Ali, 8504 Douglas Street. I had 4 questions. 1, accounting of the Green Fund. 2, what are you guys doing for demand management, especially encouraging LED adoption in commercial areas like for tube lights and lighting? And then for the Green Fund, what about using that for public buildings and schools and things like that to put solar? As many as mentioned.
So let me do 2 things. One, we are looking at the green power program right now, and to see how it can, the concern that we've had is how do you identify what's being used with those dollars? And historically, it's been used to essentially support green energy, renewable energy early on in our days here, and the contracts that we currently have, and some of the other programs that we offer around that. So we're looking at how do we restructure that for the future, and so our plan is to bring a recommendation to the board by the first of the year as we move forward in 16. Secondly, on the demand side management side, we've currently had a lighting rebate program that we're kind of modifying a little bit, so it'll have a little different name, but it still goes by our lighting retrofit program, but we do work with businesses.
Are you going to add LEDs to that?
LEDs are in it today.
Oh, okay.
So it's where you are today to where you want to go with greater efficiency, and then understanding those differentials, and we provide rebates at this point in time on the commercial side, because obviously those coincide primarily with peak as well. So we have a variety of those programs in place that are implemented and that are using it today. I don't have any direct numbers, but we typically do for the board an annual review in the spring of our sustainability programs, including our demand side management program. So we'll certainly send you last year's report. And I think I still have your card from last month, so I'll send you that report, and it should be on our website.
It's on the website
So you should be able to go on our website and be able to see that sustainability report, and it'll have the number of businesses, the number of lights, the number of megawatts that we've reduced because of that.
I was recently in DC, and there was a community forum going on about energy and local production of energy and for low-income people. And there was one gentleman that had this great project where he was talking about, the solar just in the last 3 years has come down 60%. So projects he was trying to do for $500,000 are now costing only like 300,000 instead of 3. So he had this project where he would put solar on a public low-income building, and then they had a little app on their phone, and they put a electric car for people to reserve that car and use it, powered by the solar array. So the low-income people don't have to own cars, and they can just do car sharing. So anything you guys are doing in terms of promoting car sharing, especially electric car sharing?
I would say not that kind of program at this point in time. So, but that's certainly something that, we'll think about all kinds of different things.
Especially in North Omaha, too, where if you look at the EPA's pollution levels, they're pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Picorni again. I'm bringing a message of doom, and I don't want you to kill the messenger tonight. I'm an expert friend of mine in computers says that OPPD will be hacked. Your Fort Calhoun station will be disabled within a 2-year period. And he's looking at a broad spectrum. He said it could be a terrorist from outside, it could be an amateur hacker from Omaha, or anywhere in between. You've got at least 400 employees out there. They all have cell phones. They all have devices, electric devices. That's the first problem. Without going any highfalutin, and I'm a 1 on a computer scale of 1 to 10. I'm a 1. I want to make that very clear. But my friend's a 10. At any rate, this is going to happen, he says, in 2 years. And there's an old saying, if your friend's truck is on the railroad tracks and you don't tell him, it's your fault if the truck gets ruined. I'm here to tell you that your truck, Fort Calhoun, is on the railroad tracks, on the main line of the Union Pacific. It's in dire danger. And I couldn't speak at the cybersecurity part of your committee meeting Tuesday, and that's would have been the appropriate place to bring this up. But I'm here tonight to warn you. It's going to happen. If Fort Calhoun had 2 employees, I'd say, okay, you're secure. And if there was a 20-foot concrete wall around it, but there isn't. There are so many thousands of electronic leaks. That's the message I'm bringing. Yeah. And he is open, or his group is open to consulting with you folks too. That's another thing too. But I'm not privy to your secret discussions. But I'm offering again. I'm offering to bring you folks together. And really, don't kill the messenger.
We did have a cybersecurity discussion in closed session simply for that reason, because it is highly, very, very important. And we did discuss many issues, and we were sort of felt a little bit better about everything after we listened to the discussion. As far as the nuclear, we could maybe have Mr. Curtis Posse tell you a little bit about how. I don't know how much you can tell him.
Yeah,
but
you touched on one keyword, security, so we'll be a little bit sensitive to it.
Yeah.
But we stay in lockstep with what the Nuclear Regulatory Commission requires of us. We do that through the Nuclear Energy Institute. All of the nuclear facilities in this country, I can assure you of several things. One, that we have cataloged our critical digital assets, and in some respects, we're fortunate on the vintage of the plant. We have some digital systems, but the majority of our systems are original design, and our analog systems are protected from that type of infiltration. From an employee standpoint, all of the employees, including myself, are trained annually. And primarily that's for sensitivity to leaving our computers unlocked, and probably more so for portable digital media, the little sticks that have become popular. That's an easy way or potential way that a virus could get into a network, and it's more from a network protection, information protection, than it is from, I'll say, from a nuclear protection standpoint. Deeper than that, though, our technicians and operators receive extensive training because they do use instrumentation that we use to calibrate, that we use to monitor, that we use to assess the plant. And so from a cybersecurity standpoint, we stay lockstep, like I said, with the rest of the industry with how we're managing all things cybersecurity. Side piece, while it's not a 20-foot wall, you get to the facility, but you can see it from the road, you get a perspective of how safe and secure it is from a physical security standpoint. So cybersecurity, an important subset of our security strategy, physical security, as we mentioned at the Tuesday meeting, hostile action-based drill, extensive work that we do from a physical security standpoint. But cybersecurity, an important subset of that, which is, first line of defense is the employee awareness perspective.
And I just might add, and Mr. McCorney and I had this conversation beforehand, we work very closely with the FBI as well as Homeland Security as well as all the other utilities in the region on a variety of different things, including cybersecurity and physical security. So we feel pretty strongly that those experts that do that know exactly what they're doing. And so we work very closely with them, kind of hand in hand, arm in arm, to make sure that the industry is protected as well as the public.
No one wants a Fukushima-type incident. And the person that wants it the least is me. But I'm here to relay this information to you. Within 2 years, he says. And the thing is, he'll probably coordinate so 62 nuclear plants in the United States will be attacked at the same time. So there'll be a mass attack on it. They're vulnerable. They just plain, simple, vulnerable. And if you want me to get you together with this group, I can do it. But I hate to have it, people say, we're okay, we're safe. The FBI or the Pentagon, all those people have been hacked, every one of them. Take it for what it's worth.
Who is this
Yes.
group, Mr. Pacorni? Who's this?
I'll bring you names and numbers if the president of the board.
Is it a private business in Omaha?
They're private. They're private.
Okay.
They're
And they're not related at all to the
They're not a
industry, the
corporation.
nuclear industry?
They're not, no, they're computer guys.
Yeah.
They're computer guys.
Okay.
They know how to turn things on and turn things off, and that's the problem out there. Turning off the cooling devices, turning off your electric motors, your diesel generators. There's 5 or 6 things, and if you did those 5 or 6 things, you got a Fukushima. Anyway, like I say, don't kill the messenger, but I'm bringing you this warning, and he says 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Scott, and I live at 3103 Marlene Lane in Bellevue. I am really excited about the thought of Bellevue having the wind farms and having community solar. I got excited about renewable energy back when President Carter was president. I don't like nuclear, so if that's on the record, please. I would really, my husband and I would like to buy into the community solar farm, and so I please help us get it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I can't do anything without notes these days. My name is Mark Welsh. I live at 5611 Howard Street in Omaha, Nebraska. And just to build on what one of the ladies before me mentioned, I was wondering if OPPD has written procedures so that your customer service people or the people that shut off power know when they're doing that for an elderly person, when they're doing that for somebody that has health concerns, medical equipment that needs the electricity to run. Do they know those things?
We can have Julie answer that.
Sure.
Comstock.
Well, we work with all customers, but sometimes they mention that they have a medical or health concern, we will work with them to help them get assistance, get them in touch with Common Fund, and make other arrangements on their account.
Okay. And the other thing I was wanting to speak about was the Clean Power Plan. And I would urge you to consider what Citizens Climate Lobby is proposing to do at the federal level, which is to put a fee on carbon fuels, fossil fuels, as they come out of the ground or into our ports. And for you, it would be mostly the coal coming into our borders, but to put a fee or a tax on those fuels as they enter our economy and have that be a small fee at first, but increase each year, every year, to help encourage utilities like yours, not yours because you're doing such great things with wind energy already. You don't need this encouragement, but other utilities in Nebraska, I won't mention NPPD, but others inside Nebraska and others outside of Nebraska need some encouragement to get off of coal faster. And perhaps, and I haven't looked into exactly what this new rule says, but perhaps Nebraska, by supporting that federal law or implementing that kind of an idea just in Nebraska to tax those carbon fuels as they come into Nebraska and give that money back to people so they can insulate their homes, reducing the use of carbon fuels through the utility because they won't use as much electricity. Maybe that's a way to have the plan work for Nebraska. It might be easier than just about anything else that you could possibly do. And I'd be happy to give you more information later on that plan. I can email you all more information about that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. If there's no other comments, we'll adjourn. Thank you very much for coming.